So I'm 23, I'm from the UK, and I make around 2 grand a month from a YouTube channel called Wi-Fi Uni. And I want to tell you the story of how that happened. Not the polished version, where everything makes sense in hindsight, but the actual version. The one where I wasn't sure it was going to work for a long time. And the one where the decisions I made weren't always strategic. Sometimes they were just practical, or accidental, or just the path of least resistance. And I think that honest version is more useful than the one where I pretend I had it all figured out from the start. Please excuse this AI slap voice. I promise the value in this video is worth it. And before I get into it, I want to say something I say in most of these videos, which is that I'm not here to impress you with the number. 2 grand a month is not 10 grand a month, and I'm not going to pretend it is. But it's real, and it's consistent, and it's mine. And I built it from nothing. And I think that's actually the more interesting story than the inflated version. So where did it start? And the honest answer is that it started with me noticing something, rather than with some grand plan. I was spending a lot of time watching YouTube, specifically videos in the make money online and AI space. And what I noticed was that there was a very specific pattern to these videos. Like, almost all of them were showing people how to do something with AI. How to make money with this tool, how to build this kind of content, how to start this kind of business, and they were getting loads of views. And the people making them were clearly making good money from the views and the sponsors. And I remember thinking, hang on, the people making the most money here aren't the people doing the things in the videos. They're the people explaining how to do the things in the videos. And that connected to something I'd read about the gold rush, the California gold rush in the 1800s. Where the popular history says that most of the miners went broke, and the people who got rich were the ones selling equipment to the miners, the shovels and the pickaxes and the boots, because those things sold regardless of whether anyone found gold. The demand for the tools didn't depend on the outcome for the people using them. And I looked at this whole AI side hustle space and thought, that's exactly what's happening. Everyone's scrambling around trying to strike it with the latest tool or method. And the people selling the shovels are the ones making consistent money. So why don't I just sell the shovels? Why don't I become the channel that explains all of this clearly to the people trying to figure it out? So I started Wi-Fi Uni, and the name came from that framing. Like, this is the education you get from your Wi-Fi connection. The stuff nobody taught you in school. How to actually build something real online. The faceless decision was pretty practical, more than anything else. Like, I just didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to deal with the whole setup and the takes and the editing of footage of myself. And I figured for the kind of content I was making, tutorials and explainers, the viewer didn't really need to see my face. They needed the information to be clear and well presented. And an AI voiceover over screen recordings and text on screen would do that job without any of the friction. And what I didn't fully appreciate at the time was how much the faceless format would work in my favor from a production standpoint. Like, the whole process became so lean that posting every other day was actually sustainable. And that consistency ended up being one of the most important things I did. But at the start, it was just a practical decision to make the production manageable, rather than a strategic one. The first few months, I want to be straight about, because I think people need to hear this more than they do. It was slow, like properly slow. Videos sitting at 50, 60 views for weeks, subscriber count barely moving, the whole thing looking basically the same from week to week, regardless of how much effort I was putting in. And there's a specific kind of demoralizing feeling that comes with that, where you're doing the work and you can see that you're doing the work, but the numbers aren't reflecting it at all. And the temptation to conclude that you're doing something wrong or that the whole idea was a mistake is genuinely strong. What I kept telling myself was that YouTube is a lagging indicator. Like, the results you see today are not a reflection of the work you're doing today. They're a reflection of the work you did 3 or 4 months ago. And in the early phase, when you haven't been doing it for 3 or 4 months yet, there's just nothing to reflect yet. And the only thing that changes that is keeping going. So I kept going. Every other day. Don't overthink it. Do the next one. And I also figured out the dual format thing pretty early. Like, I'd make the long form video and then cut it down for shorts. Same research and same script, doing double the work. More surface area for the channel. And that was more an efficiency decision than a growth strategy, but it turned out to be a smart one. The turning point came around 6 or 7 months in, and it was pretty undramatic, honestly. One video just started pulling different numbers to everything else. More impressions, better click-through, people actually watching all the way through. And it was an AI tool explainer, something people were actively searching for. And the title had the right words, the thumbnail was clean, the video delivered what it promised, and YouTube picked it up. And when YouTube starts pushing one video, it goes and looks at the rest of your channel. Like, it's checking whether you're worth recommending more broadly. And because I'd been posting consistently, there was a whole back catalog there. And people watched that one video, found another one, watched that, subscribed, and the watch time went up, and the algorithm took that as a signal and pushed more. And the channel started moving properly from there. And this is the thing I keep coming back to about consistency. Like, the reason that turning point mattered was because of the back catalog behind it. And the back catalog only existed because I'd been posting every other day for 6 months without it feeling like it was going anywhere. And if I'd stopped at month 3 or month 4 because the numbers weren't moving, I'd have quit right before the thing that made all the previous work pay off. The money came in a slightly different order to what most people expect, and I think it's worth being honest about this. The first income from the channel was a sponsor deal, not AdSense, and I was around 1,000 subscribers at the time, which surprised me because I thought I'd need to be much bigger before anyone would pay me for anything. But a company making a TikTok product finder tool emailed me. They looked at the niche, looked at the audience, decided it was the right fit, and offered me a deal. And I said yes, and made $50, which I massively undersold myself on. But at the time, I had no idea what to charge, so I just picked a number. AdSense came on a bit after that, when I crossed the monetization threshold, and I want to be realistic about what AdSense amounts to at my size, which is about $100 a month. Like, it's nice, but it's not the thing. And I think people have wildly unrealistic expectations of AdSense when they start, and then feel disappointed when it turns out to be much less than they imagined. The main income is sponsors, companies making AI tools who email me asking to feature their product, and the rate is somewhere between $100 and $200 per video. And the reason this works so well is that my audience is specifically people who are interested in AI tools, and a company selling an AI tool would rather reach 25,000 of those people than 10 times as many random viewers, because the match between my audience and their product is so clean that the conversion is just so much higher. On top of that, I make around $200 a month from affiliate links, tools I genuinely recommend in the videos that pay me a cut when someone signs up through my link. And the thing I like about affiliates is that they're passive. Like, the link sits in the description of every relevant video I've ever made and just keeps quietly earning without me having to do anything. And most recently, I launched a school community with 3 tiers, $10, $15, and $50 a month. And it's still early, but the recurring revenue model is the thing that excites me most about it, because it compounds rather than resets, and the churn has been really low, which tells me the value is landing. 2 years. Every other day. Hundreds of videos. A lot of weeks where it felt like nothing was happening. And now I'm 23, making $2,000 a month from something I built from scratch, with no connections, no starting capital, no head start of any kind. Just an idea I spotted, and the consistency to follow through on it for long enough that it started to compound. And I think the thing I'd want someone to take from this is that the idea matters less than people think, and the consistency matters more. Like, the gold rush idea is a decent insight, but it's not unique. Plenty of people have had similar thoughts. And the thing that made it into something real is just that I posted every other day for 2 years and didn't quit when it felt like nothing was working. And I think that's genuinely available to anyone who understands what they're signing up for before they start. If you want more direct help building something like this, I do have a school community linked in the description. There's one-to-one feedback available depending on which tier you join. No pressure at all. Cheers for watching.